that's why when I put in Discord, Tesla can give those gains back. It was because it was going up, but it wasn't a true break. It wasn't a strong breakout. You see that? So I was able to let it come up. And when it got to 344, I just locked in my profits. I didn't worry about it getting to 345 or any of that. I just got it locked in most of my profits. I left a runner to see if it could hit this previous day high at 349, but I won the trade because I knew it had a high chance of reversing because it didn't have a strong breakout status, right? So do you all what stock went up aggressive today and kept going? Was it Uber? I think Uber went up good today.
Yeah.
Let's check Uber out and see if they would be able to hold some of their gains. Let's see. So look at that. Look at Uber.
Mm,
So not only did it go up, the ATR increased by 6%. So this was a stock. If you were in it and you were like, okay, Uber's breaking out and and it's gonna do this early in the day. It's gonna feel that volume coming in. It's gonna filter out and say, hey, this is a real breakout. And so you could have been riding, and you see how it went up more than normal. This is an abnormal run up on Uber to move that much because before its ATR had it probably was around like 319 or 310 or whatever 6% is, right? So it went up further than it normally goes up, and the ATR was increasing while it was pushing up, right? So that's what you want to see and this will help you filter out false breakouts, false sell offs. Okay.
so even now, where it's saying aggressive move, strong momentum,
Mm-hmm.
it we could still get into this play
No, you
at
want to see
this
what it
time.
says. You want to see what it says on the next trading day.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm saying if it opens tomorrow and it says both of those, even though it's already the play's already going, we
Yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
have
If
confirmation to
it
get in.
if it's pushing up and you see these are flipped to if these are still at strong momentum and aggressive move, that means it's trying to get to 80 some bucks. So like probably like prior to this resistance line, right?
Right.
And so and you can see that these so when you get to these levels, you have to respect the levels because I'm not drawing these levels out. You're not either. We have code going back and putting these levels. That's why when you hit these levels, look at that. It barely touched it and fell down from 82 back down to 75. Touched it again, went from 82 all the way down to 74. So this is a strong resistance. So when it gets here, the confirmation you want to see a break, a retest, and a hold of this level. Then it's signaling that it wants to keep going up further.
Gotcha.
But you can see already you got something really good happening with Uber because on a daily time frame, you got the 12 MA crossing over the 200, right? So that
Hmm.
means you got green money, you got a yellow 200, you got a blue 12, you got a floating candle right here, right? And you can see why it's breaking out. And so if we turned on our wolf trend moving average, you will see how early it would have put us in this trade, which I signaled this trade in Discord a long time ago. We saw our first entry on Uber way back here at 50
Hmm.
something. We rolled it up to the 200, exited, and then look at that. It gave us a buy signal. It gave us an open and close candle here, which wasn't even our floating candle, but this is our early entry. We got the open and close candle. We got our crossover here. So that still would have put us in Uber around like 73, and it's been pushing up. So you got multiple confirmation. You got a floating candle confirmation. You got the inverse arc confirmation as well. And so, and then you got the ATR down here doing a lot of work for you. I mean, it's giving you upside targets based off of how much these candles can actually move on a daily time frame. So 1x means one ATR, right? So that's saying that the current price plus $3.29, and then 2x, the second profit target is just you just adding this
Two
twice.
days worth of
Yeah,
ATR.
that's correct. And it also allows you to do a lot of other stuff inside of this thing. If you're managing a retirement account or managing a small account, it allows you to set your portfolio size and all that stuff. And it does complete risk management for you. And so when you it's giving you upside targets, downside targets, it's even telling you your stop loss. And it's telling you the type of stop loss that you need to have from this time frame, not to get stopped out prematurely by institutional investors because so since we use the ATR gives you the average range that the daily candle can move or whatever time frame you're on, And so my stop loss I have set at 1.5 times the ATR. So one and a half of the ATR, so that we don't get stopped out because the stock is just moving in its average volatility. We want to get stopped out when it's moving past like the ATR so that we can know that it's a real reversal, right? And so if you double click on this ATR tracker, and then under Wolf Charge, you want to go to inputs, and then under inputs, if you come all the way down to the very bottom of your chart, this is how you control this ATR. So first thing, if you're looking at this on your phone, where it says dashboard size, you want this to be set to tiny, and that controls, it gives it a size that's mobile friendly, so you can have it on your chart, but it'd be really small even on a cell phone screen, and you have most of your chart, right? So it's just sitting down here, still on here, but really small. And you also, with the x axis and the y axis of the chart, you can move it any corner of this chart, right? But this is the stop loss multiplier here. So if say you wanted a tighter stop loss, say you didn't want it to be like too far away, you can change this to 1.25, because so one ATR put it right at $3.29. So they put your stop loss $3.29 from your entry. But if you did 1.25, it'd put a little bit further than the average range to make sure you don't get stopped out for no reason. Okay. So you can adjust. So if I put 1.25 in here, you'll see over here that my stop loss went up. You see that?
Okay.
Let me put it down, pull it up, make it larger. All right. So you see how my stop loss is at 75. So if I got into a long, because it's tracking the current, you see how it's currently tracking the current price of Uber.
Hmm.
So if I went to something like Bitcoin, for example, where you can see it better. So you see how Bitcoin price is over here, and it's changing on my ATR tracker at the same time that Bitcoin is changing. You see that? And you see how my stop loss and my targets and everything are dynamic. So they're tracking real market data at the same time as it's really happening. So this is what it'll look like during market hours. So everything is dynamic now. And so if you say, for example, you jumped into Bitcoin and you just wanted to know what your stop loss should be, because say you didn't get in at 97,900, say you got in at your entry price right here, say you got in at 97,000, and you just want to know, okay, I want to know what my stop loss should be at 97,000. If you put that in here, it also will put you a static stop loss catered to when you actually enter. So you can see, okay, my stop loss should be at 92,000. If I entered in Bitcoin on a daily time frame at 97, my stop should be at 92,203. You see that?
Yep.
And you can do that for any stock. You know what I'm saying? You can do that for any stock. It also allows you to let me come to like Apple, for example. So if I was on Apple and I wanted to know, based off of my portfolio size, my risk management. So say if I got into Apple at two 200 bucks, right? Yeah, I can see what my stop loss for Apple should be at 200 bucks from a daily time frame entry. But also, so it's giving me a stop loss of 192 if I got in at 200, right? And so this long stop means for calls, short means for puts. So when you see it says if you got into puts, your stop loss should be at this number. If you got into calls, that's what the long is. And say you had a portfolio of like $5,000, right? Say your portfolio size was $5,000, and you only wanted to maintain a 1% risk on that portfolio. You're saying, okay, to maintain a 1% risk, you don't need to hold any more than 8.11 shares of Apple stock if your portfolio is this size. And if you were managing like a bigger one, like say you had a $250,000 portfolio, you also can use it for a portfolio like that, and it'll also give you your position size. You need to, no more than 405 shares to maintain a 1% risk with this Apple position. So that way, like when you're dealing with hedge funds and stuff like that, they look at this and see when risk is outweighing, a stock is getting too large, and they start selling it and kind of trimming it off. You can manage everything with this ATR tracker. Okay. So it has a lot of stuff built into it that you can utilize for breakout confirmation, stop loss setting, profit target taking, and all types of stuff. Y'all have any questions about that?
Not me.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. So we got some more time. So so one thing I want to show you guys is how to use a screener. So I want to leave at least like 15 minutes for that. But before we get into that, is there any other questions you want to ask about the chart, or is anything else you want me to drill down on?
Yeah, I had a quick question about the like on here you got the green BOS, and then there was another signal I don't see on this one here.
Yeah, that change of character. The CHOCH like this.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So these this terminology is a part of smart money concepts. Okay. So that's when I say smart money concepts, that just means that like this, you see how we tracking basically what we're doing is we're tracking down where billionaires are buying and selling, and we're trying to buy and sell with them.
Yep.
Right. Right. So also when you're dealing with tracking down these billionaires and seeing where they buy it, this is the type of terminology they use for continuation or for trend reversals. So when you see this CHOCH, that means change of character. And all that really means is that that means that the chart is trying to signal to you that it thinks that the trend, the current trend is changing, right? So like right here, you see how we were in this downtrend on the stock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in the downtrend, you're making, you're making these a higher low and then a lower low, and then you're making a higher low, a lower low, and you're making a higher low and then lower. You just stair stepping down like in this kind of shape, right? You just stair stepping down. And so when you're trying to reverse up, since this right here, so we made a higher low then a lower low. Then we made this higher low. We made a lower low right here. And then we made a higher low right here under this support line. And then we came down and made this lower low. So this is the current higher low. All right. And so all that means is if you I'm trying to break it down so that even if you don't trade, you still kind of can catch what I'm saying. So a higher low is just saying that this high that this candle made, how high it went was lower than how high this candle went, right? And this candle right here, even though it bounced back up and went higher, it was still lower than how high this candle was, all right? So that means that so even though we had this candle right here, so that we just go back and look at this, it's like having like a if you had a group of people in a line and each person just got shorter and then shorter, then
Mm-hmm.
shorter, then shorter. So it's just this is high, but this high is lower than that high, and then this low is lower than this high. So that's what I mean by higher low. And then and you look at the low the same way. This is a low, but this candle over here is lower than this low, and this candle right here is lower than that low. So that's a lower low, and you're just comparing it to the previous low. And so when you get to the change of character, this right here, just think about this as a person that's acting in the movie. Say this was their role. Their role was to go high, then low, then high, then low, then high, then low. And this is what the pattern was, right? So then when the chart bounced from here and this candle went up higher than this low over here, the chart like, hold up,